Hey everyone, my name is Caitlin or Miss Q, and I am so happy that you're back with me for another video. Today, I want to talk with you about something that I find very exciting. This is what I like to refer to as shape-shifting. Now, shape-shifting is any time that you are transforming your body into another form. So in drama class, we do this all the time, and maybe I don't usually call it shape-shifting, but that's what we're doing when we're transforming into different animals, into different characters, into different mythical creatures, into different natural elements, sort of like when we pretended last week to be the sea anemones or to pretend like you were the wind. That's all what I like to call shape-shifting. So maybe you're like me and you're wishing that you could be other places than your house right now. If that's the case, I want to talk with you about this idea of not needing anything other than our own imaginations to transform our bodies into all sorts of different things. Now, before we get started in shape-shifting, I want to talk to you about a couple of things that really help me when I am playing pretend and imagining. The first thing that I like to remember when I'm playing pretend or make-believe is the idea that it is important to dare to be dorky. And what that means is that we have to be brave enough to be silly. Sometimes our world can make us feel like we can't be as silly and wild and crazy as we want to be. But I'm here to tell you that daring to be dorky is a really important skill to have. When I'm brave enough to be a silly person, then you can be brave enough to be a silly person too. So here's the first thing I want you to remember: dare to be dorky. This is important when you're shape-shifting, because sometimes your wings are going to be big or your mane is going to be glorious, and you need to really feel comfortable giving that a try. So in order to make that happen, finding the space that you want to do some of these activities is really important. Maybe you have a space, maybe you have your own room, maybe you have a garage or a basement, or even the kitchen when nobody else is around. Finding a space that lets you move. You don't need a big space. I don't have a very big space. I'm down here in my basement right now. But finding a space that lets you move and allows you to feel comfortable enough to dare to be dorky. Maybe you have people in your family that you might want to try this out with, and maybe you don't want to tell your family at all about your make-believe imagination, shape-shifting abilities. It's totally up to you. But finding a place that this feels comfortable to you, and then remembering to dare to be dorky. Nobody has to watch you. You don't need to show anybody. But using our imaginations and exercising our imaginations is really what we're talking about today, and really imagining all of the different ways that we can use our bodies to experience the world differently. So if I want to shapeshift into something like a buzzy bee, I might not actually look a lot different than a human if someone else were looking at me, but the way that I feel in my body, the way that I imagine what my body looks like, and the way that I experience the world are all different when I shapeshift. So if I were to shapeshift into a buzzy bee, I might just outline my big wings that I have, and I might just kind of feel where my big fuzzy black and yellow or fuzzy orange body might be, and maybe I might imagine if I have a stinger where that would be, and then I would just buzz around, and maybe I would imagine going from flower to flower. There's so many flowers I wish I could be a bee and just roll around in right now. Maybe I imagine going from flower to flower and what that feels like to me and how I might experience the world as a bee. Now, again, if somebody's looking at me, they're gonna say, you still look like a human person, but how I feel in my body, how I'm imagining I look, and how I'm interacting with the world, that's how I really shapeshift. So what I want you to do this week is, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to just get a piece of paper, something that you can write on or make a list on. And I want you to make a list of all of the different animals, all of the different mythical creatures or beasts, all of the different characters from movies or TV shows or books that you love to read, any superheroes or superpowers that you might want to try out, and just write them all down. You definitely don't have to try shape-shifting into all of these different things. This is your brainstorm time, and that's where you're getting all of the ideas down. Some might be super fun, some might be super hard. Like, how do you shapeshift into a giraffe? I don't know. That's a hard one. If you figure it out, let me know. So after you have written all of your ideas down, the next thing that I want you to do is just go back and either circle or highlight or put a star next to any of them that feel really exciting, the ones you actually want to try. Then, when you have your list, who knows how many there are, doesn't really matter, whatever feels exciting to you, you're gonna go to your safe space. Maybe you're gonna do this with your family. I would love it if you did it with your family, but it's totally okay if you do it all by yourself. You're gonna go to your safe space. Maybe you wanna put on some music just so that it's kind of fun to move around. And then you're just gonna try to shapeshift into as many of those things on your list that felt exciting to you as you can. Maybe that's just 3 things. Maybe it's just one thing. Maybe you're like, I already know. I only wanna shapeshift into a dragon. That's it. And that's fair. So now that you've practiced shape-shifting into all of the things that you circled or starred or highlighted on your list, I want you to think about which one was the most fun for you, which one felt the juiciest, like the one that if you had to only choose to shapeshift into one thing, animal, character, mythical beast, superpower, what would your one choice be? It's a really hard question, and for me, the answer changes all the time. But let's just say for today, which animal or character or superpower or mythical creature would you most want to shapeshift into, or to have the power to go back and forth between your human self and that other form? I hope that you have so much fun playing around, exploring, exercising your imagination, and daring to be dorky. Until next time,